This is Jonathan Aguilar, Fit for Pro Boxing Fans, joined by journalist Colin Hart here at the Anthony Joshua Jermaine Franklin press conference. Colin, what did you take from what Anthony Joshua was saying in the press conference? He seemed very focused. I know you can't take much, but did you take anything at all?
Well, yes, it's good to see him relaxed, as you say, focused. He seems to, or suggests that he's put the two defeats against Usyk behind him. He's concentrating, he said, 100% now on boxing, no distractions. He's got a new trainer, and we'll see how he goes.
In terms of criticism of this fight, if you look back to past heavyweight champions who have taken losses and then come back, is Jermaine Franklin a suitable opponent? Do you understand some of the criticism?
I can understand the criticism, but as a boxing writer, I think his team have done a good job getting someone like Franklin. On paper, it should be a comfortable win for Joshua. But one cannot be sure with heavyweights. One cannot be sure with any fight in any division. He's got to prove on the night that he's going to come back as a contender to try and win back his world title. Franklin obviously is not a world highly rated in the world lists, but he gave Whyte plenty of trouble, and hopefully he will extend Joshua enough to give us an idea whether Joshua is really and truly on his way back to the top.
And should he lose this fight, what are the implications in your opinion?
Well, if he loses against Franklin, he better find somewhere else, something else to do to earn a living, because, his career, I would think, would be finished. He would fail to be resurrected if he loses against someone like Franklin.
And just sticking with this fight, Dillian Whyte said that it would have been better off him losing the fight against Franklin, because he was promised that the winner would fight Joshua, and the loser of that fight ended up fighting Joshua. Do you understand his thoughts?
Yes, I can understand his way of thinking, but if I had anything to do with Joshua's career, I would not have put him straight into a fight with Whyte. He needs to psychologically get back and mentally get himself back into shape in his head, and to do that he doesn't need a real tough fight.
And then just two more questions, Colin. Conor Benn, we will wait to hear what the development is. Eddie Hearn's talking about a Manny Pacquiao fight. Just your thoughts on that? And Manny Pacquiao's obviously been retired quite a few years. What do you think?
Well, I've heard this business about Benn and Pacquiao. I sincerely hope it doesn't happen. I think it would be tragic for Pacquiao to fight. After all, Benn was a world-rated welterweight. He's in his 40s. The only thing that, why is he doing it? Why is Pacquiao doing it? He made a fortune, and he gave away most of it. And by the sound of it, he may well have given away all of it. And there's only one reason why Pacquiao would want to fight again, in my opinion, is because he badly needs the money. If he does, it'd be a great shame, because he should not be anywhere near boxing at this stage of his life.
And finally, Colin, off camera before our last interview, we were talking about some of the fights you've covered over the years and things like that. I just wanted to talk about one moment. Maybe we'll do this for every interview, talk about one moment that you can remember. The one we spoke about was the fan man during Holyfield Bowe, and you were ringside for that. Just tell the fans what you can remember from that night, and what were you thinking when that all happened?
Well, I shall never forget it. It's one of those moments it's a once in a lifetime. It's never happened before again, and it will never happen again. But I was sitting, obviously, watching Holyfield and Bowe, and then I looked up and saw this thing, I didn't know what it was, coming towards the arena, which was, of course, in the open air. And as it got closer and closer and closer, to my amazement and everybody else's amazement who were there, it was there, and the TV audience, there seemed to be a flying man coming towards us, and it was the Batman, and he suddenly landed in Bowe's corner. and was immediately tangled up in the ropes. And he had this contraption strapped to his back. At first I thought I was hallucinating. I couldn't work out what was happening. And of course the security people attacked this guy. They didn't know who he was or what his intentions were. And of course the fight was held up, if I'm not mistaken, 18 minutes. The two men stood in the ring watching this scene going on outside it, and they stood apart for 18 minutes until everything calmed down and the fight went on. It was a bizarre moment. It's never happened before, never happened again, but as I say, it's something I could never forget.
I guess also, just last one, also it must, as from a professional point of view, when you're doing your report, you can't prepare for a moment like that, and I guess that then becomes the major news rather than the fight, right?
Well, I mean, it was a side issue. I mean, the fight was still the major issue, but that was a side issue which did get a lot of publicity. And the next day, would you believe, I went into the desert to interview the fan man, along with a Swedish TV crew. I won't go into all the details, it take too long. But we were in the middle of the desert, and he read a statement, started his engine, ran and disappeared into the air, which of course I had to report for my paper.
Brilliant. Colin, we could speak about this all day, but I'm going to let you get off. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
My pleasure.